You know what's funny? Most people think strong minds are built in loud moments, on stage, in front of crowds, surrounded by applause and motivation speeches. But they're wrong. The strongest minds aren't born in noise, they're built in silence, in rooms where no one's watching, when the motivation videos stop playing, when the applause fades, and when it's just you versus your thoughts. You see, silence is where the real transformation happens. It's not exciting, it's not glamorous, but it's honest, and that's where real strength comes from. Honesty with yourself. Because here's the truth. Most people don't struggle because they're weak. They struggle because they never learned how to be still. They don't know how to sit alone with their thoughts without trying to escape them. They depend on noise, on constant motivation, to keep them moving. But what happens when that noise disappears? That's when most people collapse. Because they've built a loud identity on a quiet foundation. But you're not here to collapse. You're here to understand what builds real inner strength. So let's break it down. The first truth. Strong minds are not built through motivation. They're built through repetition. Anyone can feel powerful after a great speech. Anyone can say, "I'll change my life after watching a YouTube video." But what about tomorrow morning, when you wake up tired, your phone's calling, and no one's cheering? That's when 99% of people give up, because they were chasing a feeling, not building a habit. Motivation is like caffeine. It wakes you up, but it doesn't build muscle. Discipline does, and discipline is silent. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't make you feel inspired. It just shows up, again and again. Think about the gym. The strongest people aren't the ones yelling or flexing in front of mirrors. They're the ones who train quietly, consistently, when no one's filming. They don't need noise to prove their power. Their progress speaks in silence. That's how strong minds are built, too. Every day you resist distractions. Every time you show up when no one notices, you're training your mental muscle. It's not glamorous, it's not Instagram-worthy, but that's exactly why it works. You don't need another motivation video. You need silence, and a promise to yourself that you'll keep moving, even when no one's watching. The second truth. Silence forces you to face what noise helps you avoid. That's why people fear it. Because silence isn't peaceful at first, it's confronting. When the music stops, when the distractions fade, you're left alone with your reality, your fears, your insecurities, your regrets. Everything you try to hide under noise suddenly stands in front of you. That's why most people never grow. They drown themselves in motivation videos, podcasts, scrolling, anything that keeps them busy. They mistake consuming for changing. But silence? Silence exposes the truth. If you sit alone long enough, you start hearing your own excuses. You realize that no one else is holding you back. It's your comfort, your habits, your avoidance. That realization hurts. But it's also where strength begins. Because when you face your truth in silence, you stop lying to yourself. And the moment you stop lying to yourself, you stop needing external validation. You stop seeking people to tell you what to do. You already know. Strong minds are built by those who stop running from silence and start listening to it. Because silence doesn't lie. It shows you exactly where you are and who you could become if you stopped hiding. The third truth. Strong minds are built when you do what no one applauds you for. In a world obsessed with recognition, doing something quietly feels pointless. But that's the trap. The more you chase applause, the weaker your inner core becomes. Because applause is temporary, it makes you depend on others for validation. Real strength is built when you stop needing an audience, when you keep promises to yourself that no one else knows about. When you choose progress over praise. For example, waking up early to work on yourself when no one's watching, reading instead of scrolling, forgiving someone even when they'll never say sorry, choosing to stay calm when you could explode. These moments look small, but they're massive. They shape your mental structure because each quiet decision says, I control myself. And that's the loudest kind of power there is. Strong people don't perform strength. They live it. Their consistency in private gives them confidence in public. They don't shout their growth. They embody it. And people can feel it without them saying a word. The fourth truth, silence isn't emptiness. It's clarity. The world today is loud. Everyone has an opinion. Everyone's shouting. Motivation, advice, hacks, routines, noise everywhere. And the louder the world gets, the harder it becomes to hear yourself. That's why silence matters. It clears the fog. It reconnects you with your why. When you step away from the noise, the trends, the pressure, the comparison, you start remembering what actually matters. You start hearing that quiet voice inside you, the one that knows your real path. That's the direction. That's the focus. When you find it, you move differently. You stop chasing everything and start building something. You stop asking for motivation because you have momentum. And that momentum doesn't come from hype. It comes from clarity. So take time for silence, not as an escape, but as a reset. Because sometimes doing nothing for a moment gives you the strength to do everything that matters next. And here's the final truth. The people who grow the most are the ones who are comfortable being unseen. Because when you're unseen, there's no pressure to perform. You can fail quietly, learn privately, adjust without judgment. That's where mastery begins. Think about the greatest minds, the best athletes, the most disciplined creators. Their breakthroughs didn't happen on stage. They happened in empty rooms, long before anyone knew their name. Because they were willing to stay in the dark long enough to earn the light. Most people quit in that dark phase. They can't handle the quiet. They think nothing's working. But the truth is, that's where everything is forming. The discipline, patience, the focus, the identity. Strong minds are like mountains. They rise in silence and stand firm through storms. They don't crumble when the world goes quiet, because silence is where they learned who they are. So if you're in a quiet season right now, if you feel unseen, unheard, unmotivated, don't panic. That's not a sign of weakness. It's the beginning of your strength. This is your training ground, the place where you build consistency without applause, the space where you choose focus over noise. And one day, when your results speak for themselves, people will call you lucky, talented, or driven. But you'll know the truth. You didn't build your strength through speeches or noise. You built it through silence, through discipline, through the days that no one clapped for. Here's your takeaway. Silence builds what noise distracts from. Every quiet moment you endure is shaping the foundation of your mind. Every time you act without motivation, you're reinforcing your identity. Every time you choose focus over distraction, you're building mental armor. Because strong minds aren't made in the spotlight. They're forged in the shadows, in the moments when you could have quit, but didn't. Here's my challenge for you. For the next 7 days, stop chasing motivation. Chase silence. Turn off the noise. Spend 10 minutes a day with yourself. No music, no scrolling, no distractions. Ask yourself, what do I actually want? Then start moving toward it. Quietly, consistently, without waiting for a push. Because silence doesn't just reveal strength, it builds it. And when you master silence, motivation becomes optional. If this message hit you, drop a mind in the comments. Like the video if it spoke to you. Share it with someone who's been searching for motivation instead of meaning. And subscribe for more lessons about psychology, mindset, and self-mastery. Remember, strong minds are not built in noise. They're built in the quiet choices you make when no one's watching. And those quiet choices, they'll echo louder than any motivation speech ever could.